Hi everyone, this is Caroline Speaks, State of Our World on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. So what is it, good, better, and different? Well, the coronavirus is still with us, still going strong. To have this new Delta variant, which has joined forces with the original virus. And the main reason we have these variants, some of which are very, very strong and deadly, is that people the world didn't have good leaders in all the countries of the world. And so the coronavirus, was very poorly managed, like in the United States with Trump, and in the Philippines, and in Brazil with Bolsonaro, and other countries, and in Israel. They did a very good job of vaccinating their Hebrew residents and citizens, but they did not do anything to help the non-Hebrews, the Palestinians, the Arabs, and naturally the virus spreads. Okay, now here are some headlines. Let's see what they're all about. Okay, at least 3 Arab-Israeli journalists have come under attack in the past month. The Committee to Protect Journalists says Israel must investigate last week's bombing of Arab-Israeli journalist Hassan Shalan's home. Shalan, who writes for YNET, Y-N-E-T, survived the attack, but it's at least the third attack on an Arab-Israeli journalist in less than a month. So much for freedom of the press. Israel should investigate that. So I don't know. Hope they will. Freedom of the press. Press is very important. Now, also, there's another journalist who's not in the news now, but Mr. Khashoggi of Saudi Arabia, who's a permanent resident in the United States. He was killed by Saudi operatives, supposedly working under the instructions of the Saudi prince. Now, and it seems like the New York Times says that 4 of the Saudi men who participated in the abduction and killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018 received State Department approved paramilitary training in the U.S. The training was provided by the security company Tier 1 Group, which is owned by private equity firm Cerberus Capital Management. Very nice. Our government basically helped in the abduction and murder of Mr. Khashoggi. Very, very sad. So anyone hold them accountable? I don't know. Now, Interior Department to probe the impact of historic boarding schools for Native American children. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland announced Tuesday her agency will investigate the impact of government-run schools that sought to enforce the assimilation of indigenous children. The Interior Department, which oversaw the schools, will also seek to identify burial sites at the schools. Last month, the remains of 215 indigenous children were discovered at one such school in Canada. This is Secretary Haaland, who says, I come from ancestors who endured our horrors of Indian boarding school assimilation policies carried out by the same department that I now lead, the same agency that tried to eradicate our culture, our language, our spiritual practices, and our people. To address the intergenerational impact of Indian boarding schools and to promote spiritual and emotional healing in our communities, we must shed light on the unspoken traumas of the past. I totally agree. I totally agree. This brings to mind World War II, after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, December 1941. The United States had a policy that rounded up Japanese residents on the West Coast, took their property, put them into what they call internment camps until after World War II. So we seem to have a history of these things. In addition, having a history of slavery. People were abducted from their native countries and put into servitude until the Civil War and after. Okay. Hopefully the indigenous peoples will get their justice. Okay. Now, what else is new? Okay. Now, New York City is having a big mayoral primary race now, and they're using something called ranked choice voting. You have all the candidates. Who's your first choice, second choice, third choice, etc. Now, in Congress and the Senate, the Republican Party or the GOP blocks the voting bill as Democrats renew push to reform the filibuster. And the Republicans in the Senate have had a filibuster to protest the voting rights bill and to prevent it from getting a floor vote. And this was just a procedural vote, it wasn't the whole bill. Now, also, the Delta variant linked to the coronavirus surges amid slow U.S. vaccination rates as global inequality persists. We do have vaccine apartheid. The wealthy countries paid to develop the virus, to pay pharmaceutical companies to develop it, research, development, testing, and manufacturing, and now these companies want to charge a lot of money for the virus, even though they've been paid handsomely. So hopefully that'll straightened out. Now, Western states face record heat and historic drought, but the Republicans in the Congress reject the green infrastructure funding. Very sad. I don't know. I don't get it, but that's the way it is. Okay, now just a little break. Okay, how about a little music, a little song? The song I'd like to sing today, a little song I wrote called Life. Life is worth living if you give it a chance. So don't give up and don't give in to despair. There are so many creatures who God hath created who would love to have a chance at life. So that can be your purpose, to help them to live a good life. Life is very precious, so don't trifle with it, for once it is gone, you cannot get it back. Perhaps you need a new outlook on life, or new friends. Life is worth living if you give it a chance, so don't give up and don't give into despair. Okay, hope you liked that. That was life. Thank you for joining us this evening of Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, for another meeting of Caroline Speaks State of Our World. Hope you join us again tomorrow evening. In the meantime, stay safe, take care of yourself and others, wear a mask, only go out when you have to, practice social distancing. And when the vaccine is available for you and it's safe for you to take it, I would take it. I had mine, Johnson & Johnson vaccine, on May 27th, a little over 2 weeks ago. I had a sore arm for a few weeks, and I was tired, but I seem to be back to normal now. So anyway, thank you. Remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you. Good night. Stay safe.